In the world's most guarded corridors of power, danger usually comes wearing suits, badges, or flags. But in 2015, it arrived in the form of a phone call. A shaky voice, a cheap smartphone, and a 15-year-old boy sitting in a dimly lit bedroom in England, still smelling of burnt weed. A phone rang inside the home of the director of the CIA, a man feared by terrorists, presidents, and foreign governments alike. But today, his fear came from a child. He was called Crocker, a skinny, sharp-tongued teenager from a forgotten British town, angry at the world and even angrier at the adults running it. On the other side of the ocean lived Default, a quiet American kid who spent more time inside systems than outside his own house. To boys who had never met, but shared the same strange superpower, they understood the internet better than the people paid to control it. Cracker's rage wasn't random. He believed governments were lying, hiding, killing, and he had grown obsessed with the suffering in the Middle East, especially Palestine. One night, fueled by anger and THC, he stumbled onto something unbelievable: an intelligence official's private details publicly exposed through lazy record keeping. What started as a curiosity turned into a digital break-in, email after email, layer after layer, a staircase descending into America's most protected secrets. Default noticed Cracker's first leaks online. He didn't laugh. He didn't mock. He recognized something rare, a kid fearless enough to poke a sleeping giant. They connected. Two teenagers united by fury and brilliance, creating a micro-movement of chaos. Crackers with attitude, CWA. One evening, Crocker dialed a phone number he knew he shouldn't dial. It rang, and the head of the CIA picked up. He expected a rival nation, an assassin, a spy. Instead, he heard a boy's voice, trembling, reckless, and defiant. "You bomb countries, we're just bombing your ego." Brennan had no idea who was behind it. How many were involved, what they wanted. To him, it sounded like an incoming disaster. To the world, it would become national humiliation because the child wasn't done. Within hours, CWA infiltrated the CIA director's private emails, not through some Hollywood hacking montage, but through something worse: pure human negligence. Old accounts, weak verification, forgotten forms. They walked through the digital front door, and behind that door, they found secrets, personal files, background checks, classified assessments, whispers of foreign operations, even old discussions on interrogation policies that had been buried under political dust. Every line was a bruise on America's reputation, and now teenagers had the receipts. Default and Crocker deliberated. Should they leak it? Was it justice? Was it revenge? Was it stupidity dressed as bravery? Their answer: if they spied on the world deserves to spy on them. With one upload, CWA forced intelligence officers into hiding, triggered internal investigations, and caused millions in security damage. The world laughed, the agencies panicked. But behind the screen, the boys were shaking. They had crossed a line no miner was meant to cross. Crocker pretended to be fearless, Default pretended to be careful. But the walls were closing in. Default slept, not online, but in real life. A drunken night, a careless brag. A friend who turned silent, and then doors shattered. Boots stormed in, guns raised. Agents swarmed his room, grabbing his devices seconds before they re-encrypted. The boy who once outsmarted governments stood barefoot on the floor, his entire future being carried away in evidence bags. Crocker wasn't spared either. The UK raided him too. The first miner ever imprisoned for hacking in Britain. 5 years in federal prison for Default. 2 years in juvenile detention for Crocker. Friendships shattered, families broken, one mistake, one slip, one moment, and entire lives rewritten. Governments keep updating surveillance laws. Databases keep growing, privacy keeps shrinking. The forced silence of these kids became the loudest warning of our era. When children can breach empires, the empire is already cracked. But the question remains: did they change the world, or did the world simply swallow their rebellion and move on? If you found this story gripping, the rise, the rebellion, the downfall, then support this channel so we can bring more Era 187 style investigations your way. Like the video, drop a comment about the moment that shocked you the most, share this story with someone who loves true crime and cyber mysteries. And don't forget to subscribe, we post deep dive stories almost daily. Your support writes the next chapter.